This video is going to be a great example of one of the most broken things or systems here in Canada. You have suits and ties in Ottawa making decisions for law enforcement or making financial decisions that they are not qualified to do. We're taking a look at Marco Mendicino, who's given RCMP kind of an ultimatum saying, hey, you have to do this thing the way I want you to do it, even though I'm not qualified in any of these matters. I'm not qualified in use of force, in RCMP negotiations, in any physical altercation. He wears a suit and he just takes a bunch of crap as a punching bag in the House of Commons. That's pretty much his job description. So before we get into it, I want to encourage you to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already. Really helps grow the channel. And if you'd like a matching hat, you can find the link for that down in the description below. The hat I'm currently wearing is Keep Calm and Never Vote Liberal, which can be found right here. But there's also shirts for men and women and everyone in between. There's hoodies, there's coffee mugs, there's tumblers, there's phone cases, everything you could possibly want to represent your political values and beliefs. Link down in the description below, as well as the pinned comment. Without further ado, let's take a look at this video. So Marco Mendicino, this is fresh off the press here, July 12th. Marco Mendicino calls for RCMP to ban neck restraints not backed up by evidence. External panel. Neck restraints as in the neck movement or restraining of the neck during negotiations or altercations or things like that. And this is coming after, obviously, the events of George Floyd. But the one that the specific technique they're after is to the RCMP's promise to review the I might butcher this one, carotid technique. I don't know what the hell it's called, but I have a video here pulled up and we're going to take a look at this because this is the exact move that they're talking about. So the RCMP wants you to know that it's not a chokehold or a neck restraint and does not restrict breathing and airways. Current RCMP training and policy limits the use of carotid control technique to times where an officer assesses risk of grievous bodily harm or death for themselves or any other person. Carotid control was applied only 14 times in 2021.
When applied correctly, the carotid control is for the carotid artery, limiting the blood flow to the brain, therefore resulting in unconsciousness. We are not occluding the windpipe. We're not using the head as a lever or hurting the spine in any way. It can take up to 5 to 20 seconds for the subject to be rendered unconscious. Within 5 to 20 seconds, the subject can regain consciousness. And in that time, it is our job to monitor the subject's medical state. And if they don't go unconscious and they simply comply with the commands of the police officer, we will transition them to handcuffs. Police officers are taught at depot and reminded during training that once the handcuffs are on, the cop is off. If the carotid control technique was not available to me, I would only have, for grievous bodily harm or death, the ability to use my pistol. If it's imminent bodily harm, I have my CEW, but I wouldn't have any other physical option to be placed on the subject to prevent injury to them or injury to myself.
That's right, because as you're about to see here, potentially, I think I read that the RCMP doesn't actually use rubber bullets. Yeah, the RCMP does not use rubber bullets. So it's important for cops to have the right tools at their disposal to mitigate situations, to come to a resolution, and to obviously protect the peace. And why is Marco Mendicino trying to make the rules for cops? He doesn't know anything about use of force. He's never been in an altercation. At least Justin Trudeau has been in the boxing ring. It doesn't make any sense that you don't have the person who's making these decisions should be the head of the police chief or the commissioner, not a politician. This is what's wrong with Canada. You have politicians dictating the rules for a country that they have absolutely no experience in, such as, I don't know, the absolutely, without a doubt, non-controversial gun ban. He says that sarcastically, where the head of the gun ban has been this guy right here. The federal government demands that the Mounties ban the use of controversial neck restraint is not backed up by evidence, says the RCMP External Advisory Board. In a mandate letter issued to then RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki last year, Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino instructed her to prohibit the use of neck restraints in any circumstance. The request is also part of the mandate letter Prime Minister Justin Trudeau issued to Marco Mendicino. So you actually have Justin Trudeau trying to make these rules. It's ridiculous. Of course, the neck restraint is a great tool that can be used appropriately, or else cops wouldn't be doing it. You choke somebody out. They do it in the UFC. Why can't the cops do it to protect the peace if somebody's acting crazy? This is outrageous. I just don't understand why you have politicians trying to make these rules. But in a recent letter obtained by the CBC News, the RCMP's Management Advisory Board, MAB, an independent group of experts who provide advice and guidance to the National Police Force, said the corroded control technique can be justified as an alternative to lethal force in some cases. After thorough study and difficult deliberation, the MAB has concluded that the mandate letter commitments against the use of any neck restraint or tear gas are not supported by the available evidence, said the June 20 letter from MAB Chair Kent Roach to RCMP Commissioner. To formally prohibit the use could have unintended consequences that could increase the use of greater and perhaps even more lethal options. Again, the only other kind of non-lethal option that is available to RCMP officers as of right now is their taser. So either more people are going to start to get tased, or you're going to have people that just get choked out if they're acting out in an aggressive way towards the police and resisting arrest and whatever. Even goes back as far as January 27, 2023, that I found that Public Safety Minister Marco Mendicino says he laid out very clearly the reforms he wants to see from RCMP Commissioner Brenda Lucki, comments that come as the RCMP continues to defend its use of the controversial neck hold. Prime Minister Justin Trudeau instructed the minister to work with the RCMP to ban the use of neck restraints in any circumstance. The promise was repeated in Mendicino's mandate letter to Lucki, which is crazy. What are the cops going to do? Like, eventually we're going to get to the point where cops don't have guns, don't have tasers, aren't able to enforce the law to any capacity, and you're going to have social workers that are there to de-escalate the situation because criminals want a peaceful resolution. Criminals want non-violence as a resolution. Criminals are going to obey the law and not become criminals anymore because politicians say so. Do you see how sadistic this is? This doesn't make any sense, but this is the Canada that we're living in. It's just nonsense on all levels. Earlier this month, the RCMP told CBC News the corroded method technique is safe and effective and will keep being used. Well, the very first thing I would say is that it is important that we reform our law enforcement institutions, said Marco Mendicino on his way into caucus meeting on Friday. This is precisely why, after receiving my mandate letter from the Prime Minister, I took the additional further step to lay out very clearly how we can create that reform within the RCMP, which right off the top of my head, I can come up with a better solution to all of this. The better solution is if the politicians or if the Prime Minister seems to think that there is a breach of use of force by using this technique, why not go and publicly talk and debate the commissioner or RCMP or use of force experts instead of just making a massive stink about this and try and brainwash and gaslight the public into saying, well, oh my God, the Prime Minister says we shouldn't be doing this, so why are the cops saying we should? Like, it's just weird. You're not a professional, Trudeau, in the use of force. You're not a professional, Marco Mendicino. Stop trying to make rules for the cops. Let the cops and let the professionals within that department of policing and use of force make the rules for those guys. It's almost as crazy as, I don't know, politicians making gun bans when they have absolutely no experience with guns, or politicians banning farming because they have absolutely no experience in the farming sector or industry, both of which are happening here in Canada. I guess all three of which, since I included the RCMP in that. Love to know what you guys think down below in the comments. Are you as outraged about this as I am? Because I know a lot of people that watch these videos are actually anti-police, so this might have a little bit of a controversial reaction down in the comments, but I'd love to know, regardless, what you guys think down below. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to give a like and subscribe if you haven't already, and I will see you in the next one. Thanks so much for making it to the end of the video. If you want to support the channel financially, you can do so by checking out the merch shop linked right up there. Or if you want to do something for free, which is also absolutely acceptable and highly encouraged, you can subscribe right there. If you want to continue watching videos like this, you can do so by clicking or tapping right there to watch the next upcoming video. And if you want to watch a little bit of different content, but also Canadian stuff, you can do so by clicking right up there. That's my second channel, House of Canada, also known as the House of Commons Highlights. Thanks so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.